No one wants anyone to think that they are poor. On the surface, the idea that someone can see that you're poor can sometimes be utterly humiliating. While some people don't care about their image, many people do. Otherwise, this video wouldn't be needed. Looking rich can get you partners, job connections, and a glimpse into the envied life of the rich. However, many people who try their hardest to look rich end up making some of the biggest mistakes, and instead of looking rich, look extremely sad and poor. That's why in this video, we will be going over the 7 ways that people who are poor try to look rich. Make sure that you stick around until the end so you can see the best tip and the way to avoid looking like a faker. Number 7. They wear designer brands. If you take a minute to look at the way that rich people dress, many people would be surprised to discover that not only do they not dress crazy, often they almost try to blend into the crowd. This, of course, doesn't count celebrities, who often go out of their way to wear crazy outfits that capture the attention of the people. However, Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg are often caught wearing a simple tuxedo even if they wish to look fancy. That's because the rich people who earn their money and aren't celebrities often understand the value of the money that they worked hard for. They won't want to waste their hard-earned money on clothes simply for the brand name. If the brand happens to be of good quality, that's one thing. But if someone is wearing designer just to wear designer, then they're essentially wasting money. People who are trying to look richer than they are often make this mistake. They think that if they dress the part, people will just assume that they are rich. However, this couldn't be farther from the truth. Often, when people wear designer clothes to look rich, they can't stop talking about what they're wearing. They'll try their best to try to make sure everyone knows that they can afford it, which in turn will let everyone around them know that they're secretly poor and desperate for attention. To avoid this, simply save your money and buy clothes that you like. Don't worry about the brands. Number 6. They drive a car that's worth more than their home. The image that most people will end up seeing of someone is their car or their outside appearance. After all, you're not going to invite everyone you meet to your home, but people on the road can and will see your car and think to themselves just how amazing it looks. They'll be impressed and think you're rich, right? Wrong. Sure, people may see you on the road and think that you're rich, but that doesn't mean that it will last much longer. The people who actually matter, the ones that you'll take to see to your home, will immediately know something is up. If your car is worth more than your actual home, they'll know that your priorities are out of whack. A truly rich person would prioritize their home before they spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a car. A home is important. It protects against storms and more. So it's important to prioritize the home instead of a vehicle. To avoid this, remember that rich people don't necessarily care about appearances. Their actions will speak for themselves. They don't need fancy cars or anything like that. So, if someone cares more about how they look to strangers and focuses more money on their car than their home, then it's quite obvious to everyone else that they're not as rich as they claim to be. Number 5. They brag about money. As stated earlier, most rich people couldn't care less about their outward appearance. They would be more concerned about where their money is going, who is going to get their fortune, and buying practical things. They don't have time to sit around with friends and brag about how much money they have. Only people who are poor and acting rich brag about how much money they have. Truthfully, it's an extremely dangerous thing to brag about your money. If someone knows that you have money, or that you're lying about it, then it wouldn't be a surprise to see them trying to ask you for money, asking you to cover dinner and a movie, and so much more. Keeping your actual net worth close to your chest is the smartest thing that you can do, which is why many rich people tend to be silent about their money. If you're wanting to be portrayed as rich to others, it cannot be stressed enough to simply let your actions speak for themselves. Rich people don't need to brag about anything. People will simply know. If you want to become government rich, then make sure to subscribe for more insightful videos like this one. They'll help you grow as a person, and they're free. Number 4. They overdress for the occasion. Someone who is trying to really seem like they have enough money than they actually do will purposefully overdress for any occasion. Sure enough, it again correlates to the need for attention. People who want to look rich that aren't actually rich will do whatever they can to ensure that they are the center of attention, And the best way to do that is indeed overdressing. They'll wear a lot more than they need to, so people will look at them and wonder how they were able to afford such a thing, or how they were able to get such an amazing designer brand. However, rich people don't tend to do this in practice. Unless it is an event that calls for dressing a certain way, then people who have money will not waste their time or energy trying to overdress for an occasion. Rich people don't like to waste time, and they certainly don't like to waste money. They will do whatever they can to save those precious resources, and overdressing is not only a waste of time, but it can also be considered a waste of energy. To ensure that you don't look like someone who is desperate to look rich, make sure that you match the dress code for every occasion, and try not to think about upstaging anyone or making a scene. Number 3, they pretend to know everything. A lot of people assume that if you're rich, you must know everything. While yes, it does obviously mean that you're knowledgeable in a subject, it doesn't mean that someone with more money knows every single thing that there is to know. People who act like they know everything want to seem smart, and they're trying to overcompensate in some way or another. They're going to make it look like they know every single thing there is to know about a certain subject, and they will think it can make them look rich. Some of these people will probably sit down in front of you in designer clothes that they can't afford and talk your ear off about cryptocurrency or NFTs as if they themselves were the inventor of these things. It's important to remember that people who tend to try to look richer are trying to get the attention and lifestyle they associate with being rich. They don't know what they're actually talking about, since they're probably deep in debt just to afford the clothes that they have to make them seem rich. If you're trying to look rich and you find yourself talking people's ears off about topics they didn't ask about, it's important to remember that they didn't ask. Just like it was said earlier, rich people don't like to waste time or money, so why waste their time telling them something they already knew? It doesn't make any sense. So if you want to avoid looking like someone who is trying too hard to be desperately rich, make sure that you don't waste their time. Talk about things you know. Don't pretend to be someone that you're not. Number 2, they question authority. People who are pretending to be richer than they are may think that to seem rich, they need to act like they're the king of the world. And of course, the king bows to no one, right? Well, that's simply not true. Even rich CEOs have to bow to a boss. Their boss may just be trends in the media or market. Everyone has a boss, and the rich understand that. After all, that is just the way that the world works. Someone who's trying to look rich doesn't understand that. Again, they think that they themselves are in charge, and anyone questioning that needs to be taught a lesson of some sort. If someone in authority tells someone who is pretending to be rich to do something, and all the rich person does is challenge them as much as they can, then they're not only trying too hard to copy the personality of the rich people they see on TV, they're spoiled and mean. Questioning authority for no reason has no value to it. It makes no sense, and it's a waste of everyone's time as well as a major pain to deal with. If you're trying to seem like you have more money than you do, don't be a spoiled baby. Listen to authority, because they probably know better. Of course, listen to authority as long as you feel safe and the choices feel morally correct. Number 1, they boss people around. Again, someone who is trying to seem richer than they are will think that they themselves are the king of the world. They will think that they don't have to worry about how other people feel about them or the feelings of others, because of the appearance of them having money. They'll try to force themselves into a position of leadership, and there will probably be resistance from those who don't want to be treated like they're less than them. Rich people understand that their workers are an essential part of their business and treat them with respect. In fact, one of the quickest ways to spot someone who is pretending to be rich is to watch how they treat people. Remember this if you're trying to look rich. Be kind. It goes a long way. And if you found this video useful, then you'll love these. And be sure to like this video to let the YouTube algorithm know you'd like to see more videos like this one.